Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? You already know to hit that like button, right? And you already know that over half of you are not technically subscribed, though you keep watching. Please do yourself a favor, come join this. Family, listen, the new Fed just pulled the market down, okay? And listen, the market does not like when the Fed speaks, okay? One of the key things that I like, I'm going to start this one out with a short video, and then we're going to talk about it, is he was asked about forward guidance, and he's not giving forward guidance anymore. That I do agree with is a good idea. So listen to this very short 1 minute video.
You did not submit a forecast, but you are the person who is authorized to speak on behalf of the FOMC. So I'm wondering if you could tell us in the SEP, the increase in the expectations for inflation, is that all because of the Iran war? What was the discussion around what the expectations for inflation being higher and also potentially growth being slower?
So my read of what I heard in the room reflected, I must admit, in the SEPs, is half of my colleagues thought the policy rate, given all those developments, should be at this level or lower between now and year end, and the other half thought higher. That 19th voter was me, and I didn't submit one. There's a range of views on the questions of first and second round effects, no resolution or conviction, but we'll be meeting again in 6 weeks. I think we're going to know more then, and I think that my colleagues are very attentive to incoming developments between now and then.
So guys, I'm going to go through a few things that is showing you why and where this market is trading. It is heading south, and the market reacted today just like it was Fed Powell. Some of you guys that were making these comments, if he actually increases interest rates, which the survey came out that said that there's a over 60% chance now. Before the speech, it was over a 60% chance that he may increase interest rates, okay? And not just one time, 2 times. And some of you guys that were saying this is political, you're going to find out something. If he does not lower interest rates, which he can't do right now, then you're the same person. I'm going to ask you, is it still political, or is it just balancing the market, okay? Because some of you guys with your comments, you're exposing yourself, okay? So look at this. The Fed is trying to slow down the economy to get inflation under control. It's a much more difficult job. Now, we all know that Fed Powell made a huge mistake by saying inflation was transitory in 2020, 2021, right? That statement proved to be a big, huge mistake, right? Everyone knows that. Now, this Fed's job is difficult. Both Fed's job were difficult, okay? So, Fed decision statement will be shorter. He made his decision to stay rates. He, at this point, not to lower interest rates or raise them. He made that decision, and his statement was much, much shorter. No more forward guidance. I like that. I just played you a snippet from what he said because it does no good. The forward guidance from the Fed does no good. It has to be data dependent. Where is inflation? All right. This quarter, where is inflation? This month, month over month, where is inflation? Okay, quarter over quarter, where is inflation? Is it going up or is it going down? There are where the true numbers lie and not what we think. So we can go off of data. He is committed to changing the way that they look at data, all right, and come to a better conclusion while having a task force get together and make these decisions. I'm going to play another clip for you on what he said concerning the task force.
mind reading this very nice short statement that I think we've all appreciated in the room. One might wonder why you didn't raise rates today, considering what you're saying here. about the risks to US inflation and your mandate. I guess, why not, and what would you need to see in order to get to that place? And secondly, on your task forces, are there any best practices at other central banks that you'd consider looking at? Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad they're in the practice of giving you two questions, because my answer to your first question was going to be very curt. I've got nothing more to say than the statement itself. And to the point of the question I got before, market reactions to what we say unfiltered, I think is more helpful than having delivered a statement, me then improvising further upon it. Best practices of task forces. This is a subject I've thought some about. I've been on a task force or two in my life. Best practice, find the best minds. Ensure that the task forces have a range of people, both by backgrounds and predispositions, so they too can have a bit of a family fight. Make sure when you establish a task force that the group that's going to be the recipient of the information feels as though they've got some equities in it too. That's why we're looking for, haven't done the final roll call, some of the most significant talent we have in the building and across the reserve banks on each of these, and in some sense seconding them to this group for a period of some number of months, so that the leaders of the task force know what the most analytical central bank in the world thinks about that. They can reflect on it. And a final best practice, we're not outsourcing decisions to anybody. Administrations past and present, reserve banks have chosen a group of 19 people around the table. These will be our decisions. We can agree to some of the recommendations, disagree with others, have a good family fight about it. But what comes from them will, I hope and believe, make the discussion we have internally better, stronger, more of a dialectic, so that we can finally deliver on that price stability objective.
Just to
Okay, before we look at more data, there was one person that talked about a Fed rate cut. So one person on the board talked about a Fed rate cut, and he said an argument was, on the way with that. All right, but that's one out of the entire board. All right, he will see there will be less Feds out talking, less loose Feds. This one's saying cut, one saying stay, and one saying rate, and they're going on all these different news media. I agree with that. That's just confusion. There needs to be a just single message coming from the Fed. This is just what I think you may differ. Okay. He also hinted that the way that we're looking at core is not correct, which I agree. The way we look at core inflation has never been right. And when you're talking about X food and energy, that's what we consume all of the time, okay? And so that's some of the things that he said that I actually like. That, listen, take your politics out. I don't care what side of the aisle he's on. The things he did wrong, which he tanked the market because he sounded hawkish to some people. I didn't think he sounded that hawkish, but the market did. That's what's important, okay? So the market did not like it. The Nasdaq is down at the time of recording this 300 points, okay? The S&P down 88 points. And is this a buying opportunity? It could be, okay? But all I know is that the market, if you're doing options, if you were on the live in Money Moves, I was adamant that if you were a beginner, do not trade. Do not trade the morning, the afternoon, or the evening session. Here's why. Look at this. It was a chop fest all morning. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that. And then flush right to close. Well, this chart right here was every single FOMC meeting, just about every single one since 2020 under Fed Powell. It was the same thing. Now, one of the things about this is I know how to make money. I traded live one time, but I'm going to show you that. Now, look at what happened to the Qs. Exact same thing. Move, 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 Fed talking, Q&A, right? When they start asking the questions, flush. And I will show you that because of this, I did not trade live in money moves because I did not want beginners trading. You would have gotten wrecked. Okay? But I will show you how to become proficient at this and to actually make money. I want you guys to read this. This morning, I pulled this up and I said, fools trade during an FOMC, only fools trade during an FOMC meeting. And it literally said that that is a proverb where more experienced traders don't trade, okay? So I just kept digging in deeper and deeper. For those of you that was live, you saw that. This morning's live. A couple of thousand of you saw me. But I found this one. Trading during an FOMC meeting is, look at that, strictly for fools. Isn't strictly for fools. See that? All right? But it is one of the riskiest times to be in the market because the Fed's rate decision and forward guidance create massive instant volatility. Massive instant volatility. Massive instant volatility. So if you are new and you didn't trade today, that was the perfect trade for you. Okay, but watch this. Many retail traders avoid it while professionals adapt by a specific strategy. What is my strategy? My strategy is this. Wait to the top that they start the Q&A. We wait until the top. We start finding resistance and we do a put. You could have did it on the SPY, the same deal. And then you do a put. Now, the traffic trader, okay, led you to the money again. Here he is. Yellow light. We had a crossover down here. We call this our rear view mirror of red. And then it flushed. But before then, it was tricky. It was dicey. It was choppy. Okay? So for those of you that are paper trading options, I only want you to trade the FOMC meeting on paper and not your real money. Okay? So I could have made massive money, but I did not. Why? Because it's a new Fed and I chose to take a couple of small positions. Now, I did walk away with some money and I will talk about the entire thing a little later to my traders. Okay, so here's what I did, right? This was the Qs. As you could see, 19% walked away with $185. And before that, I walked away with a 16%, $162. Okay, sorry about that. Don't have time to edit that out. Now, I had an option overnight experimenting. Okay, I will explain this one to our money movers later. This is 292%. I was experimenting. The truth be told, I forgot I had that. So we printed about just under $1,300 by the time we cashed out everything today. But I am working on something for the money movers. Everybody gets everything. There are no tiers. Okay, everybody gets a traffic trader. Everybody gets everything. I will be in money moves when I finish this. Come and join us. But at the top link below, or you may see a link there. But until then, let's see if this market actually rebounds or stay where it is. Okay, we'll see you later. Live, love, laugh, and learn.